You buy this soap, fucker! You buy this soap and rub it on your body! Buy this soap for your dick!
Hey everyone, this is Aiden G, and today we are going to be reviewing the new Hobo Johnson record, The Revenge of Hobo Johnson. This is the third full-length studio album from singer-songwriter and producer Hobo Johnson and his band of love-makers. Hobo Johnson came out on the scene in about 2017 with his album The Rise of Hobo Johnson, but it really wasn't until 2018 when he released his single Peach Scone that really put him on the map. Personally, I am not a huge fan of Peach Scone. I don't really see what the hype is. It doesn't really have anything special to it, and I think it really makes fans overlook everything great he has on his other albums. After Peach Scone came out, it wasn't until 2019 that Hobo Johnson released their second album, The Fall of Hobo Johnson. I personally loved everything on this record. There were only a couple tracks I didn't really mess with. This record, compared to Rise, I felt was a lot better. Production-wise, there was a lot more to it. Rise, I felt like there wasn't much to the production, just simple piano chords. I still enjoyed it, but I felt like there could have been more. But with Fall of Hobo Johnson, there's a lot of elements of rock to it, such on tracks like Typical Story and Sorry My Dear, such as elements of pop infused on the tracks Move Her Away, Ugly Kid, and Subaru Crosstrek. The approach to this record really seems to be more of a adult contemporary indie rock mixed with folk, rather than pop and hip-hop and rock all infused together. A big thing I noticed with this record is a lot of the dark undertones and lyricism that Hobo really carries on with his verses. Even though all the production seems really joyful and happy, it's a really nice blend together and really creates like a misleading direction. First with the tracks Anton, Levy, and I Want You Back. These tracks sound like something I would hear at a concert on the beach, you know, with my friends, get the beach ball hanging around. But then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, wow, this is pretty dark. I Want You Back basically talks about Hobo's last relationship, I guess, and how he basically misses her. It's kind of implied in the title. Kind of just talking about the after effects that a relationship can have on someone, you know, especially the breakup. Right in between those tracks was track number 2, I Want to See the World. Personally, I was not a huge fan of this track. I remember it was the teaser track that Hobo first released, and when I heard that, I was kind of really not excited for the record. The track is fun with its production. It's got a nice, fun guitar to it. It's got a nice drum beat, you know, but the lyrics just aren't doing it for me. It's kind of just cringe. I want to see the world, especially France. I want to see them Frenchies sing and dance. They got rhythms unlike any other culture, and fuck boy, I really like their sodas. Yeah, those bars aren't really doing it for me right there. Then in the middle of the track list we got My Therapist, Jordan's House, and Prequel to Animal Farm. Now, these tracks are still carrying the same themes, you know, of kind of the nice concert on the beach, you know, rock anthem. But these I feel like are heavier in their production, heavier instrumentals, and it makes just the track hit a lot harder. And even the stuff he's talking about on these tracks, really, it's just simple. They're not really deep. It's really the vocal performance from Hobo that's really carrying these tracks. You can really hear the passion in his voice. And I think the spoken word aspect was a better choice compared to singing, because it really makes the vocals a lot more genuine. It makes them more honest. Then you have the track Prequel to Animal Farm, which is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's just a song about farm animals just living with each other, but Hobo just writes it in a way that's so beautiful that it can kind of just be symbolized into anything, whether it be love or the government or the economy. Really just works for everything. I just love the passion that, you know, Hobo really puts into these songs. It's amazing. And also, I just love how this is brought up like a few times around the record. I'm pretty sure it's just symbolism, but I just love how passionate and angry at the same time Hobo gets about soap and selling it. If I sell soap, and I call it Dr. Yonner's, and if I sell it for the same exact price as the other guy offers, and if I pledge to donate every single penny to the people who actually need it in my city, yeah, and wouldn't everybody see that they should buy soap from me? They sell it for $35? Fuck! We'll sell it for $33. I really just love the creativity that Frank has and how wide he goes with his lyrics and how weird the subjects can get, but how it just works with him. It just works with him and his music. Next up, we have one of my favorite tracks off this album. I mean, a lot of these tracks could be considered my favorite, but this one especially stood out to me. It's the track, You Want a Baby. Now, this track is probably the most simple production off the whole album, most simple instrumental. It's really just a simple guitar string arpeggio, but it's really the performance that steals the show for me. The vocals on this, even though it's spoken words, just Hobo really steals the show, and it just really sounds like he's being tortured while singing this song. Throughout the whole thing, he's essentially having a conversation with his girlfriend or wife, whatever it may be, about how she wants to have kids, but he doesn't because he's afraid they're going to turn out like him. And the way he forms the story by basically just stating it as an argument rather than just a love letter or a goodbye note, it really shows the struggle that goes through his mind, the struggle that goes through anyone's mind when they're thinking about stuff like that, and it's really miraculous to experience that. Next is the track You Need Help. This track is essentially about the struggles Hobo goes through every day with dealing with depression and anxiety, like a lot of music artists, and I guess this one's mostly about the struggle he has debating every day whether or not he should take his medication. He really goes all out on this track too, and it's really interesting because this is one of the more darker songs, but again, like, this song has kind of the sound of like a campfire song. You know, everyone's around the fire, they're clapping and they're like chanting, they're repeating what the singer's saying. It's really funny. Next we have Song 9. This is one of my favorite songs on the album because I feel like this track, it is great. It's a great rock track. It's so fun, and I feel like lyrically, this is the track where Hobo's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna write whatever like comes to mind and just have fun with it. Like, he's not really giving too much of a care. Then we have the outro, which is basically like a early to mid 2000s trailer with the cheesy narrating voice, and it's funny, but then I think it extends a little too long because then you just randomly hear this narrator talking about the AQI of bong hits and how all we see is poop. I still really enjoyed this whole album overall, even though there were a couple of moments where I wasn't too excited about the record. I still really enjoyed the message behind it all and the performance and the overall just aesthetic of the whole record. I'm feeling an 8 out of 10 for this record. I really enjoyed the sound. I hope Hobo keeps going with this folk rock sound, and if not, that's cool too. I'm excited either way for what he has next.
And then I'm gonna rip out your eyes! Mate! I'm gonna rip out your eyes!